Dear students and dear parents, welcome to Excellent Educational Platform. I am Ibrahim, the English teacher in Excellent Schools. Today in this lesson we will revise a very important section from grade 6 Smile book. So we will begin here with the adjectives, and we will learn everything about the adjectives, how to bring the positive, how to bring the opposite of the adjectives, how to compare using the adjective, how to make a superlative using the adjectives, and we will also learn how to bring the past of many verbs, which is very common questions in the exams. And we will also know how to use like, dislike, and enjoy, and how we can use must, mustn't, should, shouldn't, can, can't, do, does, did, could, and couldn't. Okay, we will study from here. The first question says, write the opposite of the following. Okay, so this is about the adjectives. Adjectives means الصفات. So every student must memorize the adjectives and their opposite. Okay, so here we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. We have 9 adjectives, and they ask me to bring the opposite of the adjectives. What the opposite mean? As we say, adjectives means الصفات. Opposite mean العكس أو الضد. So this is a very common question in the exams. They give you many adjectives and ask you to bring the opposite of it. ده سؤال شائع جدا، يجيب لك الصفات ويطلب منك انك تجيب شنو the opposite of it، تجيب العكس منها. Okay, so let's begin from the first adjective, slow. What's the meaning of slow and what is the opposite of slow? Slow بطيء. The opposite of slow is fast. سريع. Fast. Okay, so we would like to notice to all the parents، ننبه كل أولياء الأمور إنه لازم جميع التلاميذ يكون حافظين the spelling of the adjectives. لازم يكون حافظ الspelling لأنه بعدين مطالب إنه يكتب الspelling الصحيح. Slow, the opposite of it is fast. Easy. Easy. What's the meaning of easy? سهل. The opposite of easy is hard. صعب. Hard. As we said, you must memorize the right spelling of the adjective. لازم تحفظ الspelling الصحيح. Noisy. What the opposite of noisy, or what the meaning of noisy? Noisy مزعج. The opposite of it is quiet. The opposite of noisy is quiet. The opposite of noisy is quiet. Short. Yes, short means قصير. The opposite of short is tall. Yes, tall. T-A-double-L. So as we say, we have slow. The opposite of it is fast. We have easy. سهل. The opposite of it is hard. صعب. We have noisy. مزعج. The opposite of it is quiet. هادئ. We have short. قصير. The opposite of it is tall. Okay, let's move. Clean. Clean. Let's keep our class clean. What's the meaning of clean? نظيف. Yes. The opposite of clean is dirty. قذر. Dirty. Okay. ننبه للمرة الثانية، you must write with the right spelling. لازم تكتب بالspelling الصحيح. Dirty is the opposite of clean. Okay. We have here good. What is the opposite of good? Yes, it's very easy. Good, جيد. The opposite is bad. B-A-D. Bad. سيء. We have old. And here old may means different things. يعني old ممكن تجيني with different meanings. So it have two opposites. I can write old. I can explain old as it's قديم. يعني ممكن old بمعنى قديم. So the opposite of it can be new. Yes. The opposite of old, new. Here أنا فسرت old قديم. So I wrote new, جديد, the opposite of it. But also old can give me another meaning, which means an adult person. This is an old man. Okay? Yes. تجيني بمعنى عجوز. This is an old man. يعني old ممكن تجي برضو باسم عجوز. Old. So الopposite حيكون شنو؟ The opposite of old, young. Yes. Young. شاب. He is a young boy, but he is an old man. So here old can ممكن تتقبل two meanings. Old as the opposite of new بمعنى قديم. So we're gonna write new بمعنى جديد. Or we can take it as the meaning of عجوز, old. He is an old man. Okay? So the opposite of old here becomes young, شاب. Yes. We have cheap. Cheap. Yes, cheap معناه رخيص. Cheap means رخيص. The opposite of cheap is dear. Dear. The opposite of cheap is dear. Okay? This is the first lesson in Unit 8 in Smile 3 for Grade 6. الدرس الأول in the Unit 8. It has all the adjectives and its opposites. في كل الصفات and the opposite of it. The last adjective is fat. Fat. Look, that is a fat man. Fat. What the meaning of fat? سمين. So the opposite of it is thin or thin. Thin. So this is the first question for today. Write the opposite of the following. We have slow, بطيء. The opposite of it is fast. We have good. The opposite of it is bad. We have easy. The opposite of it is hard. We have old. The opposite of it, if you write new, it's right. And if you write young, it's also right. We have noisy. You remember noisy? Yes. At lesson 2 in Unit 8. Saki and bump. Saki is noisier or bump is noisier than the bump. Noisy, مزعج. The opposite of it is quiet. هادئ. Cheap. رخيص. The opposite of it is dear. غالي. We have short. The opposite of it is tall. Yes. We have fat. سمين. The opposite of it is thin. Last thing we have clean. The opposite of it is dirty. Okay? This is what's about question 1. Here we want to know how to use the adjective when I want to compare and when I want to give the superlative. I have here the positive adjectives and here I have the comparative. Here I have the superlative. It is also a common questions in the exams. بديك الصفات you should write the comparative form, you should write the superlative form. What's the meaning of comparative? Comparative means المقارنة. How can I use this adjective to make a compare between two things? كيف أستخدم الصفة عشان أقارن بين حاجتين؟ For example, I want to compare between two things using the adjective slow. In the comparative, slow become slower than. I add ed at the end of the adjective and then put the word than after it. Slow become slower. You see, I add er. Slower than. Slower than. Slow means بطيء. Slower than if I want to compare between two things. أبطأ من. For example, like we have in the lesson 8, in unit 8, Sagia is slower than pump. When he compares between the Sagia and the pump, he said Sagia is lower than pumps. الساقية أبطأ من المضخة. Slower than. أبطأ من. So I use the comparative when I want to compare between two things. لما أجي أقارن بين حاجتين, I should write it in the comparative form. I add er at the end of the adjective. I add er at the end of the adjectives. Then I write the word than. Okay, slower than. أبطأ من. I have big. It becomes bigger than. Yes, bigger than. I have to notice, as I said, الناس تركز على السبيلينج الصحيح. Big becomes bigger than. Here بيحصل شنو؟ ندبل الحرف الجي. Bigger than. أكبر من. Big means كبير. And the opposite of it is small. Here, for example, if I have big, كبير, the opposite of it is small. صغير, yes. Big, كبير, small, صغير. I want to compare bigger than, أكبر من, okay? Yes. Let's move to the superlative, الأفضلية. Here I said slower than, أبطأ من, but in the superlative I said the slowest. In the superlative we add est. In the superlative we add est. Slow, slower than, the slowest. الأبطأ, the slowest. The slowest. I add what? est. Slow, slower than, the slowest. This is a comparative. I want to compare between two things. عايز أقارن بين حاجتين. Slower than. Sakia is slower than the pump. If I want to make the superlative, I'm gonna say Sagia is the slowest. Okay? Here, I don't compare between two things. I give it the superlative. بدي والأفضلية, the slowest. الأبطأ. Big, bigger than, the biggest. Big, bigger than, the biggest. الأكبر, the biggest. est. Here we add er, but here we add est. Big, bigger than, the biggest. We have noisy. As we said, noisy, مزعج. I want to make a comparative. It will become what? It will become noisier than. I add er at the end of the adjective. بضيف er في نهاية الصفة. Noisy become noisier than. But here I have to notice two very important things. هنا ننتبه لحاجة مهمة جدا. We have y at the end of the adjective. عندنا حرف الواي في نهاية الصفة. We have y at the end of the adjective. I want to add er. عايزة أضيف شنو er here because it is comparative. I should add er. What's gonna happen? I should look at the letter before the y. بعاين الحرف اللي قبل حرف الواي. If it is a constant letter, لو كان حرف ثابت الحروف الثابتة all the letters ما عدا الفاول letters. الحروف الثابتة كل الحروف ما عدا الفاول letters اللي هو ال E I O U A. لو لقيت الحرف اللي قبل الواي a constant حرف ثابت I'm going to شنو to dismiss the Y. هأسقط الواي وأضيف بدلها I E R. So it will become noisier. I E R. Noisier than. Yes. Noisier than. And here the same thing. The noisiest. أفضلية. The noisiest. I E S T. انتبه. So the Y have a specific rule. عنده قاعدة معينة. حرف الواي. At many things. حتى لما أجي في ال present simple when I add S لما أضيف S ولما sorry في ال past simple when I add ED وفي ال present continuous when I add ING I should be careful if the adjective or the verbs end with Y. انتبه إذا كان الصفة بتنتهي بحرف الواي. I should look to the letter before the Y. عين الحرف اللي قبل الواي. If it is a constant letter حرف ثابت I'm gonna drop the Y. هأسقط حرف الواي and I'm going to add IER. And here the same thing. I'm going to add IEST. Okay? The same thing for pretty. Pretty. What's the meaning of pretty? You remember pretty? Yes. City of Petra is one of the prettiest city in the world. You remember? Yes. Pretty. جميل. Pretty. What am I gonna do if I want to make a comparative form of the adjective pretty? It's end with Y. So I'm gonna look at the letter before Y. It is a constant letter. It's T, a constant letter. So I'm gonna drop the Y and add IER. It will become prettier than. Okay? It will become prettier than. Yes. أجمل من. Sorry. Prettier than. And here, the prettiest, الأجمل, superlative, the prettiest, the prettiest, I-E-S-T. I'm gonna drop the Y, okay? So all the adjectives, if I want to make a comparative form, I'm gonna add ER in the comparative, slow, slower than. Big, bigger than. Noisy, noisier than. مع مراعاة حرف الواي. Pretty, prettier than. This is the comparative. When I want to compare between two things, لما أكون عايزة أقارن بين حاجتين, I use this form. When I want to give it the superlative, عايزة أديها الأفضلية, the slowest, the biggest, the noisiest, the prettiest. Okay? We come here to good and bad. Good and bad have a total different rule. عند قاعدة مختلفة تماما. Good and bad, we don't add ER in the comparative and we don't add EST in the superlative. Good and bad totally change. في الصفة good and bad ما بضيف ER. بتتغير تماما. سواء كانت في الcomparative أو في شنو the superlative. Good becomes what؟ ودي معظم التلاميذ يا جماعة بيغلطوا فيها. يشوفوا ديل طوال يعملوا ER حتى لما يجوا لجود وباد برضو نفس الشيء ER which is totally wrong. خطأ. Good becomes better than. تبقى يا جماعة better than. أفضل من better than. تتغير. I'm not gonna add good and add ER. No, it's wrong. It's become better than. Better than. تتغير. Good تبقى better than. And in the superlative becomes the best. Yes, the best. الأفضل. The best. Okay? So good and bad have a different rule. عندها قاعدة مختلفة. Because the whole adjective changes, totally change. Good becomes better than. Okay? ما حنضيف ER عادية زي الباقيات. No, it's changed. It's become better than. But here it becomes the best. Okay? And the superlative becomes the best. But what's gonna happen for bad? Bad is also gonna change. It will become worse than. أسوأ من. Bad means سيء. So I want to compare. أقول شنو أسوأ من. Worse than. Worse than. شايفين يا جماعة؟ I'm not gonna add ER. ما حاضيف ER. هنا لا. الكلمة كلها حتتغير. It will become worse than. أسوأ من. And in the superlative become what? Remember the worst. Yes, الأسوأ. The worst becomes the worst. So here we get to know the positive adjectives and the comparative adjectives and the superlative form of all the adjectives. So all the adjectives, when I want to compare, I'm gonna add ER and than in the comparative. Slow becomes slower than. Big becomes bigger than. For example, here old, it will become what? Older than. For example, I have fat, it will become fatter than. Okay? I have what? Clean. For example, cleaner than. أنظف من. I'm gonna add ER at the end of the adjective and then put the word than. Because I want to compare between two things. عايزة أقارن بين حاجتين. أضيف ER and I put the word than. Except ما عدا in these two adjectives, good and bad, because they change. Good becomes better than. أفضل من. Bad become worse than. أسوأ من. Worse than. Okay? And here in the superlative, I add EST. Slow, slower than, the slowest. Big, bigger than, the biggest. And I have to notice here in big, I'm gonna double the G. بدبل حرف الجي. أي صفة عندي بتتكون من 3 words، وكان الحرف القبل الأخير يا جماعة vowel letter. زي شنو؟ زي big vowel letter. أدبل شنو؟ الحرف الأخير. First نفس الشيء بالنسبة ل fat. The same thing for fat. You see fat? Fat 3 letters، 3 حروف. الحرف اللي قبل الأخير كان vowel letter. فلما أجي أعمل comparative بدبل الحرف الأخير fat، حتبقى fatter than. بدبل حرف التي هنا. دي برضو قاعدة الناس تركز عليها. اوكي؟ زي ما قلنا الناس تركز يا جماعة، الطلبة دايما يركزوا على السبيلينج الصحيح. يعني في الامتحان عادي يجيب لك كده انت تعبي براك الصفات دي، فلازم تكون حافظ شنو ذا السبيلينج الصحيح. عشان كده بننبه هنا، بندبل الحرف لما الصفة تتكون من 3 حروف والحرف الأوسط يكون vowel letter I E U Y A. بدبل الحرف اللي قبل الأخير زي big تبقى bigger than. دبل حرف الجي. fat تبقى fatter than. okay? Good and bad زي ما قلنا they have شنو different rules. Good becomes better than, bad become worse than, and here become the best. Good superlative تبقى شنو the best. Good better than the best. Bad worse than the worst. Okay? So this is all about the comparative and the superlative. Okay, how can I form a sentence in a comparative form? أو كيف أقارن؟ For example, I want to use the adjective good. I have ways to travel and ways to communicate. You remember that lesson? This is the first lesson in the unit 8. Ways to travel and ways to communicate. They compare between the plane and the car. Okay? عايز أقارن between the plane and the car. عايز أقارن بين الطائرة and the car. Okay. So which one is better؟ قال لك which one is better؟ أيهم أفضل؟ You can say plane is better than car. الطائرة أفضل من السيارة. Better than. The plane is better than the car. The plane is better than the car. إذا أنا عملت مقارنة between two things. حاجتين. Between the plane and the car. Plane is better than the car. الطائرة أفضل من السيارة. For example, I want to say that plane is the best thing. عايزة أدي الطائرة الأفضلية إنها أفضل وسيلة للسفر. بقول plane is the best. Plane is the best. الطائرة هي الأفضل. Or I can say plane is the best way. Plane is the best way to travel. الطائرة هي أفضل وسيلة للسفر. Plane is the best way to travel. Okay, let's take an example here for the comparative and the superlative. It says choose. Ahmed is dash than Ali. Here, this is a comparative because I am comparing between two boys, Ahmed and Ali. إذن دي مقارنة لأنه أنا بقارن between two boys, Ahmed and Ali. Ahmed is dash than Ali. What am I gonna choose? Tall, taller, the tallest. Tall, tall, taller, the tallest. I'm gonna choose, yes, taller than. أطول من because it is comparison. Ahmed is the dash in the class. The أنا هنا اديته الأفضلية in the class في كل الفصل. هتبقى أحمد is the tallest in the class. Okay. Here we have another rule. عندنا قاعدة مهمة اللي هي I have this verb. الفعل اللي بيجي بعدها بيكون فيه شنو ing. دي كلها أفعال عندكم في الكتاب. Like, dislike, enjoy. الفيرب اللي بيجي بعدها بيكون فيه شنو ing. Yes. وعندي هنا عندي هنا المودل فيربس دي مودل فيربس. أي فيرب بيجي بعدها بيكون شنو infinitive. أي فعل بيجي بعدها بيكون مجرد. Must, mustn't, should, shouldn't, can, can't, do,